I've been taking my time, taking all of your time, taking all of your time.
Hey, my trendies, trendsetters, and my trendy tribe. Mic check, mic check. 1 2 1 2. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Okay, y'all can hear me. Okay. All right, I'll do quick greetings. All right. Hey Hill 75. She was in here in the morning talking about some good morning trending. Hey Hill 75. Hey Shirley Macklin. La Tigre, number 21 on the likes. Miss E Barstar, Mama Bees, Creole Girl, Glow. Hi Sophia. Glow said I'm number 5 on the like counts. Hey Kim Jones, number 30. Regina, Bonnie Mason, number 35. Hey Veronica Monroe, American born. And I'll stop at Dee Dee stands on business, but I did see Shan up in the building. Hey Shan, one of my legal eagles and part of the mod squad. Okay, so I had to regulate my temperament today because I actually wanted to try to communicate what I feel and not be rah-rah, but it was hard not to be rah-rah on this one. And we'll see how I do once I play y'all. It'll just be the audio, just in case, you know, how things go sometimes. It'll be the audio. But I have sprinkled in here some advice, notes from professionals, and also from just lay people that either their friend was in therapy or they had a therapist and things like that. So we're going to break up this audio with some other stuff because some of us are going to need a breather. And I actually want to communicate my thoughts and feelings, so I'm trying. So first, I would like to start off with a little informative piece from he says he's a therapist. So here we go. We're going to start here. This is kind of any clip I pulled is probably my stance on how I'm feeling. And because this is not my profession, I'm not very familiar with it. Even if I read up on it, I'm still outside looking in, but I know what I feel on the inside, and it don't feel right what's going on these mental Mondays, in my opinion. It just does not feel right. We're all going to have different opinions. Since I lasted throughout that whole replay live, of course, I've heard the other side's opinions because their chat was coming up, and of course, some of the comments were read out loud. So yes, I did hear the other side, but this is my opinion. So we'll start with this though.
And I'm always asked as a therapist is whether I get attached to any of my clients. A little secret. If a therapist tells you that they don't have favorite clients, they're lying. We all have some clients that we get on better with because your personalities just mesh. And sometimes with these clients, you actually might be looking forward to having the sessions with them. And then on the opposite end, there's going to be some people that you just don't click with. That's the exact same with any relationship ever in life. You're going to have some people that you get on better with, and you're going to have people that you get on worse with. But a good therapist will try their best to make sure that that doesn't affect their practice and the service that they're providing for their clients. But to avoid getting attached, therapists have to remain a little bit disconnected from their clients. It makes sense why that can happen, right? Because you're having an intimate relationship with someone and you're talking about all their deepest, darkest secrets. So if you share your emotions with someone else, there's going to be a form of relationship that develops and a form of closeness that develops, right? But what helps me, and from my experience, is understanding the professional client boundaries that are in place. And these boundaries make the dynamic stay as it should do, being the therapist and the client rather than a friend of a friend or a family member and a family member. And that attachment is a bit of a sign that that boundary is beginning to break down and that the therapist might be taking a bit too much responsibility for the client. So when I say too much responsibility, what I'm saying is that, of course, I want what's best for the people that I work with. But it's not my job to make people feel better. That's their job. I'm just here to guide things and just to promote a couple of ideas that might lead to some sort of personal development and to easing of whatever problem it is that people are going through. But the minute you begin to take responsibility and think that you are supposed to fix people's problems, that's when the attachment begins to develop. It causes the therapist to take personal responsibility for the happiness of the client. And if we, in that situation, don't get that happiness or don't get them to be successful, it often causes the person to reflect back on themselves and think that they're the problem, that they haven't done enough to help them, right? And what becomes even more dangerous is the fact that your emotions as a therapist is then being directed by the client and their reactions. And then that becomes a problem because you can't control what your client does or what they say. Therefore, you're essentially giving power over to them. So to avoid that, you just have to understand what the professional boundaries are and understand your role as a therapist, which is you're there to guide the client into whatever direction that they want to grow in.
Okay, a couple things. Yes, and you're going to hear her disclaimer. She says she's showing up as the life coach, not the therapist. But from my understanding, she still is a therapist. And she even says she can't unknow what she knows. So I'm still holding it accountable that the behaviors don't seem the best, in my opinion. So, okay. Also, so my overall synopsis of Destiny and her life coach therapist is this feels wrong. That's just my opinion and my feelings. Since most of us seek therapy, some of the signs that I'll be playing can just help you in general if you're reevaluating your own client therapist relationship, if you're thinking about going into therapy and understanding what's healthy boundaries, that those also can help, because some of these will not necessarily apply. Like, for instance, one common thread is a toxic therapist client relationship is they always show up late for your appointments. So stuff like that obviously is not so much for this with Destiny and Dion, but still it could help you as you're navigating your real life. So the next part, zooming out, looking at Destiny from a few years ago to now, I'm not seeing the growth and the change. I'm not seeing it. So, and I'm not seeing lessons learned. The life coach / therapist, she's gonna say some nice words in here. Also, yes, Chronicles of Kim K, I see you, boo. I got you unblocked. I don't know what happened. But the flowery words surround a pile of poo to me. So that's my opinion. So yeah, there's some let's pray for everybody type things, but then it's like, let's ignore all these other things. In my opinion, that's what it felt like. It was hard to get through. It was hard to get through. I have not ever watched a full Mental Monday. I don't even know if I actually saw any Mental Mondays, except for if I was on someone's channel I might frequent and they might have played a clip. So this was my first full-on exposure, and Lord, I will not be, I mean, obviously I wouldn't be over there often, but this was it early morning or late last night. This struck me like, oh, I want to explore this. So that's why we're here today. Also, just so you know, because a lot of y'all are like, there's no way I'd be able to listen to this, I will tell you now. I'll tell you now, Destiny does not actually speak 85% of the time. She just makes facial expressions, which if you watched any of her interviews, you are familiar with that. She reads a couple of comments out loud from the chat. She does go, Law is here. He's in the room and at home. So she does that. She has to tend to Law for a bit of it. Her life coach was hoping she stayed for this important part she had to tell her, but Destiny was gone for like a solid few minutes. So she was just stuck talking to the chat. So the biggest part where Destiny finally spoke was the last few minutes of the live, which I don't know if I'm playing all of that, but I'm just letting you know that's when she spoke the most. Let's see. Okay, so let's get into it. So you'll hear sound and not see the video just in case. So, all right, so let me get y'all the visual and let's start.
While we're waiting, we can remind you all of what the purpose of this is, so everybody can make some wise decisions about how to spend your time. Hey, your hope. I see your hope. You're new. Let's see. If you're in here, hey, unpopular opinion.
What's up, Unpop? They think I'm you in these chats. Okay.
Okay, that's the first part. So we'll keep going. I just want y'all to get the tone.
Yeah. So listen, as we're waiting on people to come back in here, we want to make sure we reorient everybody into the purpose of Mental Mondays. We're here to look at reality TV and make sure we make lessons out of it. This show can be triggering. That was the heart behind this, is to have a place to go and talk about the triggers. So that was the heart behind this whole thing. We want to make sure we talk a little bit about the show. We're reviewing the show in the beginning, and we'll talk about your triggers. So actually, I want you all to make sure that you put the things in there that triggered you from this show, because we want to make sure we hit those things, and also who you would give a trophy to.
Okay, I left this part in because Dion asked for the people to name their triggers and also who they would give a trophy to. That's what she asked. Then she's about to read her disclaimer. I'll let you hear it. To be fair, here is her disclaimer.
You ready?
No, I was just putting your disclaimer up.
Oh yeah. So listen, I am a therapist. I don't make that a secret, but I'm here in the capacity of a life coach. So the difference is I'm not here to give you therapist advice. You're going to hear I can't unknow what I know. So you're going to hear me talk about things from a psychological perspective. And, but I am here in the capacity of a life coach. So this is in no way meant to be treatment. I want to be clear about that.
What does child mean? Unpopular.
Look, I'd be like, listen, I'd be like, child. Child. When I say it, I mean it's a lot. That is a lot.
Okay, so shout out to probably the one person that said, you know what, I'm gonna go over there and I have time today. The person that said, shout out to you. I didn't write your name down, but they said, my trigger was Destiny saying she didn't know how Melody felt. I had to write this down. Oh my gosh. Because obviously if they're asking for triggers, they're asking for, you know what they were asking for. So, okay. Then Dion goes to say, oh, don't run your blood pressure up. If, she was like, go watercolor, touch grass and other things. Don't run your blood pressure up, because we're not trying to run Big Mama's blood pressure up and some other stuff. That's what she said, in case, she didn't want nobody to be over there be mad. All right. So then this was interesting because and I'm going to let y'all hear it, but I was like, what's going on now? Because Dion says, how do we keep going at the same time? Speaking of people were saying they're over in Heavenly and Carlos King's chat because that's a messy Monday day, the Monday thing, right? And she said, I thought we, and she cussed herself off. Dion says, I thought we, and then she cussed herself off. And for me, I'm like, you thought what? Did y'all coordinate times so y'all could tag team this thing? What do you mean, y'all what? You thought we what? Did y'all speak about a strategy, or was it just I thought we picked opposite times of their regular time? I don't know, but I was gonna let you hear it because it caught my eye. And anything that catches my eye or ears, I'm sharing it. So here you go.
Yes. So let's see. People are over in Dr. Heavenly and Carlos's chat. Yes, they can catch this at some other time. All right. How do we keep going at the same time? I thought we. Never mind. It's whatever.
Because Mondays is later for every other Monday's later for us.
Okay. All right.
And I'll repeat again, just in case, Didi, to be fair, her disclaimer is she's coming in, although she's a therapist, she's coming in as a life coach here, just so you know. She said life coach, just so you know. My feelings remain the same. My feelings remain the same. Okay. So now Dion says she tried to take notes. She said the beach scene was the most triggering for her. Destiny says she did not watch the episode. Dion speaks about Dr. Shanita. She does more than once speak about Dr. Shanita in this, and I'm not playing every time she spoke about Dr. Shanita. But I'm gonna say this is one of the things that, speaking of triggering, what triggers me is people that watch a piece of the show, but then they have the whole story mapped out about how someone's reacting or finally has come to terms with something, but you're getting a partial one side and you're getting the camera part. Because yeah, some things happen on camera that stayed, but a lot of it is not about what has happened on camera. And it is disappointing. It's disappointing. It's frustrating. So go ahead and be prepared to be disappointed and frustrated. I'm going to play this one. This will be one of the longer segments, and then I'll have another opinion about toxic traits of a therapist coming up after this segment.
All right. So we did roll call. Let's just go ahead and get into it. I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm going to tell you, I tried to take notes this time. And I'm gonna have to concentrate. I tried to take notes this time, man. It's hard, like, to do it like that. I still got to get my footing in this. So I'm gonna start at the beginning. I'm gonna just go ahead and start at the beginning at the beach scene.
Before she starts, Shanera, so it's like a one-sided recap of an episode, because Destiny is not watching it, yet they're here to recap the episode. And mostly it's the life coach therapist speaking for most of it. Destiny will just make faces throughout this for the most part.
So to be honest with you, Destiny, you'll probably be surprised. The beach scene was actually the most, I don't know if it was the most trigger. It was trigger and it was funny all at the same time. For me, it was the most surprisingly at the table. While the table was triggering, the beach scene was actually more triggering to me, and I'll tell y'all why. And then you can let me know, Destiny. You can let me know what part was more triggering to you. Did you watch the whole episode? I cannot with you. I cannot. So let me look at my notes. I'm gonna be doing a little bit more looking at my notes.
I'm still watching Bridgerton. I am still on episode 3.
Girl, I can't keep peace. Keep your peace, girl.
I try to watch TV. You be watching TV. Be watching me.
Yes. So
So
they catch us up. First of all, I'm just gonna start. Shanita is telling everybody, they show us again what the definition of an ops is. They do a flashback, and she's sitting in a room, and she said, well, the ops is somebody who can sit in a room with people they don't like.
That's not an op. That's actually not the definition of an op.
But that's her definition. So we're going to go off her working definition of what an op is. So,
okay.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. So this is an op. And my thing is, I don't know whether to laugh at some of this stuff, or I have mixed feelings. It's part comedy and it is the hypocrisy. I think that's the part that's so funny. But it's part comedy and part triggering. So I had mixed feelings about it. So so this is the part that I just found so funny. She said, it's about in my mind, huh?
I just saw.
So Destiny chose to read out while Dion's going through her notes. Destiny's reading out a comment from their live, and she's like, who compared themselves to Jesus? Here we go. First of all, number one, you read that out loud because you already know who made a and who alluded to Jesus and Judas. You wanted that read out for a reason and to interrupt what was happening because you wanted to make sure that point was pointed out. I'm gonna say it and say it again and again and again and again that we as Black people, if no other culture knows, we that is such a common saying. I don't know why we're playing dumb when it comes to that. My aunties, grandmas, my father, my uncles, they gonna say they talked about Jesus. What make think they ain't gonna talk about you, or they betrayed Jesus? You know, like it's the culture. So I'm not gonna stay long on that point, but she's gonna harp on it.
Comment said, then compared herself to Jesus.
It was so much happening. So Shanita says, when she's looking at them walk, Tisha, Kimmy, and Stormy, they're in the water. She's looking at them, and she looks over
the pictures in the asses. They looked good.
They did. They did.
Look good.
They did. She says, so they're talking. They're separated. They're in two separate groups. You got Mel, Shanita, Sunny, and Nell. They're all sitting together. Then in the other group in the water, you got Tisha, Kimmy, and Stormy. These names, they're too much alike. Okay.
Where's Trish?
Where is Trish? Was Trish out there? I don't remember seeing her. Anyway, Shanita says, now in my mind, it tells me when you walk away and when you go in a group, you're talking about me. She looks over at them and goes, hey, you know what? They're talking about the ops. And she's like, you know what this tells me? That they are over here talking about me or talking about you, right? So, and I'm thinking the whole time, they go back and forth. It's hilarious. They go back and forth between the two. You got the one group who like, see, this is why you can't trust them. They talking about us. And then they flash over. This is the hilarious part. They flash over to Tisha and them, and they're talking about, well, how are we going to keep the peace? I'm like, this is freaking funny. So
her thing is, now here's what's wild, because later Destiny's gonna say you were in that room too with me, the room that she was assigned with Tisha and Kimmy. I don't know if she meant to say it like that, but she tells Dion, I was talking to production and I was talking to you in the room saying I'm not gonna sleep here tonight. So I'm like, not only if that's the case, not only has this been your first reality show where you don't understand stuff getting cut up. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but I'm like, a 1-for-1 does not in synchronicity usually happen with conversations. So you think that while Shanita and Melody were talking about how they, somebody's probably talking noise, blah, blah, blah. And then Tisha, who technically to me, even when she references this, was still causing chaos because she was getting glee from the possible chaos it would ensue. But you think that because that scene from back forth, you didn't see them having the same type of conversation to you, that those women don't do really mean behind the scenes things or in your face things. Again, I say the fact that you can even say this, I gotta stop interrupting these clips, but I gotta say my whole premise for this whole thing is the fact that she says this is you take things at a weird surface level, because I feel like at this point, even on the surface, I'm like, I don't understand how people don't see what Tisha's true intentions were, what Kimmy's true intentions are, what Trish, which I don't even understand Trish, what Destiny's true intentions are. I don't see how you don't see it. Even on surface level, I don't get it. I'm just gonna have to let her go because it's so much nonsense. I can't even have a counterpoint to each piece of nonsense for me. And I told y'all I'm trying not to go rah-rah. I'm trying to just, child, let me bring it back down. Let me stop.
They're over there talking about how are we going to keep the peace? Like, how are we going to bring Destiny into this situation? I'm kind of worried about Mel. What's going on? And these people over here like, see, girl, they talking about us. And I'm like, you mean like what you're doing right now? it was just so funny to me. I'm like, y'all can't be serious. But I love that production caught both conversations. Was I the only one who thought that was funny? Like, they're over there talking about peace. These people are over here talking about destruction. So the conversation gets worse. This is where I'm like, what is going on?
Hey, Peggy. Sorry.
So then they start talking. Mel agrees and says it's like when Judas betrayed Jesus, because right after he betrayed him for some pieces of silver, he sat down and ate with them.
Where did that come from?
Girl, this conversation. Now, I think there's two ways to say it. You know, like sometimes people may use biblical references. She may not have been directly comparing herself to Jesus, but it's the principle of the conversation. It's the principle. Like, you are betraying. It's like a Judas level betrayal. If somebody can sit down and eat with you and not like you, aren't y'all all doing the same thing? I'm like, this is bananas. This is bananas. Aren't y'all all sitting down eating with people that you don't like? Are you all doing this Judas level betrayal? So I was confused. I didn't know whether to laugh at the way they were going back and forth between the conversations. Like, the people who were presenting themselves as being so positive were actually the people who were being negative. And the people they're talking about being negative are over here like, how are we going to make sure this trip stays peaceful?
That's my face as she says this. The face she's making is my face. Like, how are we here right now? I guess we're gonna have the same face for different reasons, because how are we here? Shout out to the content creators in the chat. Hey, how I see it TV. I saw Black women are in the building. Pop Wisdom, I believe you are a content creator. If not, I don't know. I just always think you are. Pop Wisdom. If I saw some more, I'm gonna say it. But hey, y'all. Okay. So I'm going to give us a break with a clip, because it's a lot to get you worked up. So what I'm gonna do is, who are we going with? Hold on, I wrote my notes for the one. Okay. Let's do this one. I have them described as how I see them. So I have this woman written down with woman with glasses, a bob, and a purple shirt. But this is beware of therapists that want to play the hero.
Beware of any therapist who wants to play the hero, who wants to rescue you, who wants to swoop in and play the mother figure or the father figure that you never had. Although this may feel loving at the time, it's actually abusive. They are using you to meet their own needs. They are either grooming you to take advantage of you, or they are simply using you to meet their own need of being needed, of being important. An ethical therapist will teach you how to rescue yourself.
Okay, quick break. Let's get back into it. All right. So now let's talk about, we're about to watch a clip where I think this is Dion that says, it gave me more insight into how Mel is thinking about the group. What is the throne? This goes into how she sees Stormy's not competing with anyone. I never saw Stormy trying to compete with anyone. And what does she mean? If there's an HBIC, that means there's levels. And Dion repeats to make sure we all hear it. She said, when you quit the show last year, so yeah, she just want to make sure people heard her say Destiny quit the show. She said, did I miss something where Stormy came in and had the behavior where she tried to dethrone someone? Well, Dion, what you did miss is that Stormy was very buddy with the mistress at the time of Melody's ex, but she still manipulated the situation to get Melody's attention and get on the show. So yeah, you missed something with Stormy. Dion also asked the question, what does it look like to dethrone someone? Destiny says, oh, Law said, I don't know. And Dion says, Auntie don't know either. So again, just letting y'all know, they're familiar with each other. It's beyond whatever life coach or therapist relationship. She's Auntie to Law. And you know what? You could be like, Trendon, you're pulling at straws or grasping at straws, because you know, Black women will call ourselves auntie. Just wait, you'll hear more where it just to me sounds like it's a very familiar relationship. Let's see here. All right. Hold on. I'm reading my notes to make sure if I want to add anything else. Oh, I said in my notes, I said Dion should change her disclaimer to "This is just two good girlfriends kicking it, talking about a show they half watch and one lives but won't be honest." I don't think she should even come on as a life coach was my note. Just say it's two friends doing a half recap. I think that you know, you still gonna have people that's not gonna like what you say, but at least we wouldn't have to look at anything about you professionally. That's my opinion. Real fast, I need y'all to please come back here at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday. I have my first guest for a new segment, and I hope y'all decide to join me. Okay, that was a breather because when I play this clip, y'all about to be mad. But please come back at Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here you go. Just breathe, y'all. Just breathe.
It gave me more insight into
Uh-oh, sorry. Y'all said no sound? Hold on. I'll go back. It was only playing for like 30 seconds. Here y'all go. Yes, on this channel, Deuce, thank you for Trend Talk. But yes, my bad. Here's the sound.
It gave me more insight into how Mel is thinking about the group. She says this. They're talking about Stormy. And she says, you have
Not too much on my girl. Not too much on my girl.
Huh?
Not too much on my girl. What they say?
So she's talking about Stormy, and she says, you have.
Oh, I did see this clip. I did see this. Okay, go ahead. Okay. All right.
You have people who come over here in this circle and feel like they finna become the head B, I'm not gonna curse, in charge. That's when S gets effed up when you try to dethrone me. What? What are we talking about? What throne? What is the throne? What somebody, now I'm gonna be honest, I really could be missing something, because truthfully, Destiny, when you weren't on the show last.
Oh, okay, y'all can hear me. I was about to unmute nothing. Miss Z, so that was my question too. I don't think Melody said that. And if she's saying what Dr. Shanita said, then why are you going on this diatribe of what Mel thinks because of something that Dr. Shanita said? Sound check. Can y'all hear me? Because I think some people might have been a few seconds behind in the live. So sound check. Can y'all hear me? Y'all good? Just want to make sure before we go on. I feel like y'all must hear me. 1 2 1 2. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, Ms. Z, I don't think Melody said that. And of course, for the people with a better memory, y'all can let me know if that's what she said. But I honestly don't care, because when it comes to, and I'm pretty sure I have this in my notes, when it comes to the territory of Love and Marriage Huntsville, whatever Melody wants to call her, like she said, you're a guest in her house. That is her house. She would be the HBIC if she did decide to refer to her that way. She would be the queen on the throne. She would be whatever it was in the Love and Marriage space. I also think that I see that Melody is able to work with a lot of different personalities when you get outside of this cast. And so I think that whatever is the appropriate way to be in your group, she dynamically changes for that group. But yeah, when it comes to the show, I mean, everybody eating because of her. So yeah. Yeah, so I don't see the problem if that is something she said. I don't see the problem, but she's really, she's still going. We got a few more minutes on this.
Last year when you quit the show last year and you weren't on the show, I did not watch it like that. So I could have honestly missed something. But can somebody please catch me up on this?
Hey,
Don't say hi to Law. He won't leave until you do.
Hey, Law.
how do it?
I do it good.
Yes, I got the mic.
Oh my God.
Okay. But yeah, so did I miss something? Y'all catch me up. If I missed something from last season, because I haven't seen it this season, did I miss something where Stormy came in and had behavior that suggested that she was trying to dethrone somebody? Did I miss that? What does that look like? What does it look like to come in and dethrone somebody? What's the behavior?
What's the behavior? The last 5-6 years is the behavior. This is what I'm saying. When you come in on the surface and you got these strong opinions and to say like, well, yeah, girl, baby, YouTube is out here. YouTube is available. I can't not. Right. April said, girl, you have missed a lot, especially with your home girl. Right. We're in 10,000 word essay level at this point. A lot.
Because I didn't see it this season. I watched this season and I didn't see it. You know what I saw? I saw a woman come in there, successful, brilliant in her own right. Not trying to, I don't see her trying to.
She's talking about Stormy right now, just so you know.
Compete with anybody. I just think she's a whole movement. This girl built a multi-million-dollar business, lost it, built it again. That's what I saw. That's what I saw. I saw a woman loving on her husband, loving on her babies, making friends. That's what I saw. Did y'all see anything else? Did you see a dethroning? Did you see a coup? I'm going to take over. And take over what? What are we taking over? What does it look like to dethrone somebody?
Oh,
What's the
He said,
throne?
what, Law?
I know.
He said, I don't know.
You don't know? Auntie don't know either. I don't know either. What does it look like? I couldn't find it, y'all. I'm searching. If y'all can find it, please, in the chat later on, please send me something that shows where, send me to the episode where Stormy comes and tries to dethrone her. I need to find that.
She's crowdsourcing. She says send her the times when Stormy was trying to dethrone. I'm gonna say in parentheses, come for Melody, because she said she hasn't seen that.
And she's like, and I'm thinking the head be in charge. In charge of what? In charge of what? Destiny, what does that even mean? What does it mean to be in charge?
I'm in charge of the girls. That's what I think about all the night. I'm in charge of the girls. I'm in charge of the girls.
Do y'all remember that scene from Harlem Nights? What's the name? Dale Reese, what's the name of the character she was playing? He was like, are you in charge? Eddie Murphy's like, are you in charge? Yeah, I'm in charge. I'm in charge of the girl. What does that look like, y'all? What was that? I don't know what that looks like. And what happens to people who dare not acknowledge her superiority, her grandeur? What happens to those people if you dare not acknowledge it? If you dare raise to the same occasion, if you have the audacity to see yourself as equal or more?
Now here's some, me over here with my little layperson observations. I think that Dion was triggered by the beach scene the most because of some things she may have experienced growing up with certain archetypes of women. And then here, where she's so passionate about what happens if they reach your level, Melody's always trying to elevate people around her. They're gonna take off and do whatever. That means there could not be a Jay Bolin if people, and I'm not saying it was only Melody, but what I'm saying is she wouldn't lend a hand in it if she doesn't want to see people elevated. She wouldn't try to directly connect Kimmy to her people in property preservation that would instantly with your own elbow grease. Get Kimmy to her own level of financial status. I'm not saying Kimmy didn't have any financial status. Being a highly respected nurse, they have a nice income. So I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like she wouldn't have brought Stormy on the show if she couldn't see them reaching levels and eyes that they didn't reach before. Like, Shan said she triggered because Mel Dunk is dunking. I'm done with you, Shan. But no, I think that there's something that she sees that either something happened in her own friendship peer dynamic, and I feel like it's coming out strong right here. Really strong.
And I don't even know that Stormy, does Stormy even know she's in a competition? Does she even know that? And I don't know that. I'll tell you what I think I see happen to people who dare to who dare
not with me all the time.
Okay.
I'm in charge of the girls. What happened?
Yeah. See, now this whole time she had this whole diatribe. Destiny ain't even paying attention to her friend, life coach, therapist. So Destiny missed the whole passionate rant just now, which happens multiple times.
No, we were just talking about what happens to people who don't acknowledge her as superior. Because if you're in charge, that means you're superior. That means you have positioned yourself in this superior place. So what happens to people who don't acknowledge that, who don't go along with that?
Right here, Miss Z, yes. Destiny I think her current goal is to strive to appear unbothered. Every time it seemed like Dion advocates on Destiny's behalf, the most you're gonna get is a little face, and then she's Law needs something. Oh, the chat said this. Now I can understand your child, you kind of can't predict, but you don't have to read out what the chat is saying in the middle of the person that's advocating for you is talking. Like I definitely feel like she's trying to it's water rolling off my back, a duck's back. You know what I mean? Yes, Miss Z, I definitely feel like that's what I was looking at this whole time too.
What I think happens is they get dehumanized, devalued, discarded, and then endlessly harassed by people who think they are doing a good work, but they get a taste for blood because vengeance knows no end. You can't get satisfied by vengeance. That's what I think happens.
Well,
and that's all Destiny gives her most of the time. She said, well, this is what Destiny gives her after all that. This is,
I think, happens.
Well,
that's most of it. That's 85% of the time. Okay, now let me see. Am I giving y'all a little bit of a break? I think we're going into a bit of a break. I gotta make sure I didn't number my pages. I'm making sure I keep my notes straight. Okay, yeah, yep. Let's go. Let's look at. Let's see. I'm looking at my notes. Sorry, y'all. Okay, here's one. Be mindful of not getting overly attached to a client.
Attached to your patients. I want to answer this question by trying to describe what the relationship between therapist and client is like from my end. I genuinely do care for my clients. I heard another therapist on here recently say that the care and compassion is free, and what the client is paying for is the expertise and the clinical interventions, and I totally agree with that. I genuinely want the best for my clients. I want them to be successful. And I work with a lot of amazing, really cool people. It's also this really unique space where I'm learning so much about a person. Oftentimes this person is sharing things with me that they've never shared with another person. And so I get to know them very intimately, but that intimacy is one way. I always know when I start working with someone that at some point I will no longer work with them, that our relationship is temporary and that it's a professional one. And as therapists, we have to be mindful of not getting overly attached. And what I mean by that is forming a type of bond where we as a therapist start to meet our own emotional needs through our connections with clients, or getting attached in a way that kind of starts to cloud and bias our clinical judgment. I don't think anyone can do this work long term and have it just be a job. Like, it is way too emotionally taxing of a way to get a paycheck. That said, we're human, and we might have days where we're tired, or like everybody else, where we would rather spend the day on the couch than going to work, but we know we still have to show up because people are relying on it. Do you get
Okay. All right. I'll take that one down. Okay. So now Destiny, continuing with that conversation. I guess you know what? No, I had X this part out, but you gotta hear this. Dion says that basically Melody and Shanita are exhibiting the crab in the barrel mentality. She says the others are the mature ones. Destiny says she guesses she didn't stay in her place. Dion says there were missed opportunities for women to work together. So yeah, let's start there. Let's do it.
And support that mindset, you're the enemy. There is no in between. It's like a crab in a barrel mentality. What would it look like to rise together? Because the other women in the cast seem to be doing that.
It is an ensemble cast.
It is, but there is this invisible pecking order. I learned that today. That was confirmed. There is a pecking order. There's somebody who's sitting at the top. If you got to be the be in charge, if you got to be the head, be in charge, that means you see a pecking order, and people can't outgrow that pecking order. That is dysfunction, y'all. If you put that into any group, anybody with any sense of themselves, any agency, they're going to rebel against that. And then you have the person over here, like, now we got the mature people, like Destiny's coming. Do not engage her. Don't do this. Destiny's coming. And then what does the mature, I don't know if she's a life coach or what, Shanita say? What advice does she give, Sonny? Flash your ring. You mean antagonize the situation? That's your path to peace?
She said that?
She said that. As often as you can, I would be antagonistic. That's what she said. These are the peace seekers, by the way. I don't know whether to laugh or pray. I just know it feels.
Right.
I don't know which. So I had to do both, y'all. I had to laugh and pray because what are we looking at? What are we looking at? Yeah.
You know, when I think about that, Mistress 85 said, it's the mindset. Look at the examples that were given about me at the table. It was Taco Tuesday. It was the party. And it was the reunion. All of those are incidents, I guess, where I didn't stay in my place.
Yeah. And that's the expectation that you'll get in line. Stay in your place. So I'd be really curious to know what it would look like for people to reign with her, to be her equals. What would that look like? I'd be curious to know. So that was actually, surprisingly enough, I thought I was, going to be the most triggered about the table. It was that scene right there. That's what did it for me, to be honest with you. So, and then I think about I don't want to get too far ahead,
So 41 Fit, I'm hoping that we see on your channel your thoughts about this. If y'all don't know, 41 Fit is in school for this. Outside of that, her personality and her intelligence is just something, and in her voice is something I think people should hear. So I hope you do give your own thoughts on this 41 Fit, because she is also a content creator. So please check 41 Fit out. And I hope I'm rallying 41 Fit to come finally speak about this.
I don't know what Storm's gonna do, but man, I think there's some missed opportunities to show what women working together and supporting each other looks like. There's some missed opportunities for that. I can't keep up with the
Okay, let me see where we going here. All right, so we're going ahead a little bit. Dion starts to quote Bible scripture. It's the one with this so crazy to me, but the scripture about how can you talk about the plank in someone's eye with the speck in someone's eye with the plank in yours. Dion says, of all things, Dion says, be professional, address it at work. What do you tell your client when she's throwing chairs and jumping up at the tables? And is that also how you professionally address it at work? I just asking.
Mean-spirited, yes. And here's the deal. This is why I'm going to say this. This is why I am a huge fan of, there's the scripture in the Bible, I stand on it. Pull the plank out of your own eye before you start trying to pull the speck out of somebody else's eye. You got to look at yourself. One of the things I try to make sure I do before I go in a guns a-blazing, like, what's going on for me? What's going on for me? Because this.
Okay, Sandra, I know this is going to come up many times. And I think that's why I'll even take a break from my favorite CCs, because it's only so many times I can listen to Food Truck. It's only so many times I can listen to Destiny. It's only so many times I can listen about Trash Tales. So yes, I understand they would use her for clickbait, but also the other side of this, and this is why I still address it when I want to and tune in when I want to, but then tune out when I'm tired, is because if no one captures the lies in real time, then the lies get to sound like the truth because there's no counterpoint, and people have short-term memory a lot of times. And the whole thing with this, on what I came in on, was the cast was thriving the first season or two. It was Ask Me Anythings by Tisha, because it was all good out there with them. And then the roar started happening, the uproar started happening, like, oh, wait. Chit Chat, one of the first ones I heard of, just retrospectively, were pulling out receipts. Then Queen Sheba's pulling out receipts. Then you have all kinds of CCs, like, okay, hold on. Let's address this. So yes, you got to tune out when you start getting your own fatigue, because I totally get it. But I don't always like to let these things just sit as if, and I want to address every small thing, but I don't think anybody does. I think it's just that it's a variety of us and we all pick a piece we're talking about. But that for me is why I totally understand that also this is their possible clickbait. But I promise you, some of these people really be believing this as well. And I can't do it all the time. Like, sometimes I be feeling like it's time for me to say something, but yeah, we all be rotating out here.
You're gonna end up with this sense of self-righteousness. And again, I'm gonna encourage y'all to look at friendship. Like I tell you, I stay out of people's stuff that they have online, like YouTube. I just be like, good God, I try to go into a lot of positive stuff so I can get some of this Love and Marriage Huntsville stuff out of my feed in my YouTube. But I'm telling you, like, now more than ever, my feed, my homepage is lit up with all this stuff. And I'm just like,
overtime.
I'm like, what is going on? These streets are so smoky. So we're not going to go back, Destiny. We just don't stick with reviewing the show. We're not going back and forth with people. Not out here swinging behind in the bleachers behind the school when you're supposed to be fighting this fight in the stadium. No, you're going to address it at work. You're going to remain professional and address it at work. We're not going to be out here having a whole bunch of monologues when you get paid to have a dialogue. Be professional. Address it at work.
Oh, but here's the thing, Dion. I guess your friend did not tell you about her counter petition, because she said this is how she makes her money, and she needs to be able to talk about a lot of things off the show so she can make her income. So the professional that earns her check from the dialogue also wants to have her monologues off of the show as well. So you got to ask your friend, what is she filing in court too? Because you're missing some things again. Your friend not telling you everything, apparently.
But it's the level of, I just look at the sheer volume. Even when I try to get it out of my timeline, it's like coming up. But like I said, when we get on the same page, pay attention to what's coming out now. when we get on the same page, when we get caught up real time, man, man, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna get ahead of you. I'm not gonna get you in trouble, get ahead of the show. But anyway.
Okay, next part. Hey friend, hey Don Don. Y'all go check out my friend Don Don. But it's probably all Don Dons in here right now. But Chef Don Don and Queen Common Sense are also content creators. Hey. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. They do cover Sunny a lot. I'm skipping over that. But they do cover more about Sunny a lot. Everybody's running the gambit with the Sunny Destiny opinions. And since that's not my main thing, I'm more here about this client therapy relationship, I'm going to let that one slide because we'll get off track if we try to touch the Sunny thing a lot. So I'm not going to touch it too much. Hi, Okay, I'm going to break it up for y'all real fast with another clip from a therapist, a professional. Let's see. Who do we want to? Oh, let's do this one. This one is they're going around the office asking questions. I think it's like a bad signs of a therapist or something like that. But they talk kind of low. So your volume, I'm just letting you know they talk a little low on this clip.
Therapist red flag.
If a therapist only wants to give me tools or advice and they don't want to explore the deeper stuff, that's a red flag for me.
Bringing personal bias into the room.
Really distracted, or it just doesn't feel like they're giving you a safe space to be open and vulnerable.
A red flag would be a therapist who makes decisions for you. It's a therapist's job to support you with the decisions that you've made, not to make the choices for you.
If you tell your therapist that something's not working and they still push it on you.
All right, there we go. Moving on to the next. Oh yeah, y'all caught that. She said, I don't want to get ahead. So yeah, it seems like she does have some knowledge of some future events. She said she don't want to get ahead. Also, if you weren't in here earlier, Destiny, if I kept it in, when they talk about that room at that vacation home, it sounded like she was saying Dion was in the room with her, like not staying there, but like there with production at the time with her too. So yeah. All right. Here's my next problem. I'm going to play this next section, but for me, I feel like it's so crazy that she like kind of says, I guess Carlos needed for your pain to be shown so the audience could connect with you. And I'm like, okay, so you haven't studied or seen or heard the history of Carlos either outside of Love and Marriage Huntsville, because Carlos does not protect any woman, in my opinion. I was like, at this one, I was like, could you at least be objective enough to recognize Carlos does not care about the mental well-being of the women on his shows, in my opinion, in my personal opinion. So I'm like, whatever helps make these excuses. Dion says they're still working through where Destiny can still have more conversations. She says Destiny says her discernment is on point, like her own discernment, Destiny is on point. And Destiny says she tries to do the things that Dion and her therapist tell her. So that's a context clue that Dion is acting more life coachish with Destiny. And then there's a separate therapist. I feel like there's might be more rotations because I don't understand what's going on here. But okay, let me find my timestamp for y'all.
And so you don't have to pretend. I would rather you just be like, yeah, that hurt to be betrayed by two people that I thought I could trust. That hurt. And I think it's okay to say that. And I don't think the conversations, as a matter of fact, I know the conversations. Yeah, I see you. I said what I said. We see you. We got it. We got it right. We got it right. We got the context right.
My bad.
Yeah, no worries.
I didn't see the rest of it.
Yeah, we got you, mama. So, oh Lord, I got lost in what I was saying.
I haven't seen her comment at all. So
yeah, I got lost in what I was saying. Doggone it. Y'all, this ADHD ain't no joke. Oh yeah, what I was saying was that
Okay, so no, I don't think that right now. Oh, I got you. Empowered Woman said, I don't believe she's acting as Destiny's therapist. Therapy has confidentiality and privacy laws. She would not be televising her therapy to an audience. Well, I don't think this is supposed to be a therapy session per her disclaimer, but she is, like Shan posted, trying to help apparently Destiny evolve, and she's giving these. She says she can't unknow what she knows as a professional therapist. So this is still coming from the therapist's brain on how these observations are being made. But yes, the, how can I say it? The technically speaking, the official, she's like, she did disclaim this is not a current therapy session and all this other stuff too. She did do a disclaimer in the beginning of that.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna move on. It'll come back to me, y'all. It'll come back to me.
That's my fault. Thank
No,
you,
it's my
Sam.
fault.
I'm glad I addressed it. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I'm gonna move on. If it comes back to me, I'll bring it up. But yeah, it's okay to feel betrayed. Thank you. It is okay to feel betrayed and to acknowledge that you feel betrayed, because it's going to take time to heal that hurt. And I think what people, it lends to also that idea that you don't have feelings. And
the dehumanization. That's
humanization. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. At first, I was really upset, and I don't like the idea of you coming back to this storyline. Like, you know, like, oh man,
we was both upset. Now wait a minute.
We were both upset. Hence, it took you a while to go to work, actually. But really upset about you coming into this storyline. But there's a part of me, I don't know Carlos, I don't know him well enough to know what he's thinking, but I almost wonder if he instinctively knew that for part of the audience, they had to watch you suffer in order to connect with you.
I don't know, because some people don't care.
And that's what I mean. This is why I tell our crew, don't get caught up in vengeance, because it will never, ever, ever be enough. It changes the condition of your heart. The more you do, the more you need to have. It's a bottomless pit. And before that stuff, vengeance does not stay neatly tucked into one relationship. It will spill all over the place. It really will. It'll spill all over the place. So that's why I say, don't prepare your heart. And we did a lot of work, Destiny. We talked a lot about heart preparation. We did a lot of praying before you went into that situation. I mean, a lot of praying. We did, y'all. We talked about just how to make sure that you don't weaponize truth. And I know everybody, some people will be like, I'm skipping ahead a little bit. You bringing up the respectful cheating thing. Some people may think that that's you being too harsh. I think because I know what you didn't say, I'm like, man, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Because if it was a thing of, I'm going to take you out, that wouldn't have been a conversation we were looking at. If that's where your heart was at, that wouldn't have been a conversation that we saw. Also, you know, while I think it's important to have love, it's important for truth to do its job too. The pathway to reconciliation, it always has to go through conflict. That is the vehicle to reconciliation. That's the path. Conflict. The Bible says, stop saying peace, peace where there is no peace. And one of the things that, and I've said this to you, I remember even I've said to you, like, would it be easier to play ball? And you like, yeah, but that's not authentic. It's not real. And the thing, what I can say with a great deal of certainty is whatever relationship you're in, whatever you say about the relationship, that is where the relationship really is. If you call somebody a friend, that's what you really mean. Because when you don't mean it, you won't say it. People will always know what they said. Like if you don't rock with a person, you'll be like, it'll probably be easy to say I rock with you, but I don't. And until it's fixed, until that thing has been addressed. So you have to go through it.
Oh yeah. So this is again, the therapist said all this. This was Destiny's input on all that. Here's just an example.
So you have to go through it.
Ooh, insightful, very insightful.
Yeah.
And so, and then I'm like, you sure you don't want to have another cover? I'm like, no.
Now we still working on that. I do think. I think that you can have, there are times where I really do think you can have more conversations. So now that's just my honest opinion. And
I know people think that I'm like this gullible girl that.
So Tennessee girl, that's what got me to be like, I gotta watch a whole one of these. That's what I asked I said, why the therapist sound so mad? Why the life coach sounds so mad? Why you mad?
Ends up, just picking bad people and everything. My discernment is on point. And my discernment actually was on point with Sunny. I just was in a space where I didn't listen to it because I wanted to see all the good in her. It's funny because I actually, and this is not on the episode, so maybe I shouldn't say because we're talking about the episode, but at the end of the season, the last season that I was on, I called Sunny a snake. I literally called her a snake. I said, "You're a snake." And one of the other producers called me and was like, "You hurt her feelings. She really cares about you. She's been, fighting for you and all this other stuff." And so he's the one that worked on my heart to be able to accept her back in, because that's how I felt. And I don't know what month it was, but I think it was either right before the Monica show, because I wasn't even going to do the show. That's how upset I was. And it was about things that weren't told to me. It was kind of like a sneak situation. Kind of like the Moses situation too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But that was me not listening to my discernment. And a lot of times I feel like, and this is going off script, I try to do the work and I listen to the things of my therapist and you tell me. But when my discernment is sitting there like, it ain't right, it's nothing left in me to do it. So I appreciate you pushing me to have conversations, because I'm 90% of the time I probably would have 99% of the time I probably wouldn't have had them. So that's growth in me to have conversations and not just cut people off. So that's a big growth.
Yeah.
So Destiny says here is growth in her to have conversation and not cut people off. But then when they talk about the Taco Tuesday night and other stuff, we can't talk about how she did cut people off too. I'm not saying, okay, I don't know. Golden Mike, welcome. I'll play all my sounds at the end. Thank you for becoming a member. And welcome to the Trendy Tribe. And Bobby Bolton, thank you for your super sticker. I appreciate you. Y'all remind me to play my clips at the end. I don't want to mess up the flow for y'all right now, but I want to appreciate y'all. Oh, Donna says she get on my motherfucking nerves. I did not curse. YouTube, I'm reading Don's comment. Hey, G Squad. G Squad is another content creator. Hey, G Squad. Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
And I do still think that conversations are needful, because what we see, if we're looking at your relationship with Melody, actually, this is, y'all were missing conversations.
No, we weren't. We had a lot of conversations on and off camera, and it just kept being the same. Yeah, it's like a merry-go-round to the point where sometimes you feel like, am I crazy?
Well, this is what I mean by missing conversations. Because here's the thing. Here's where I understand her. Here's what, because you all start your conversation. It starts out pretty. I'm gonna finish that thought. I'm aware I didn't finish that thought. I'm gonna come back to it. You all start your conversation, and you start off. Y'all are pretty. You're assertive. I think in a way that you're addressing the issue. You're like, she's laying out the issue. Here are the three places that. Here are the three situations where that let me know we couldn't rock together anymore. Now, two of those situations, it looked like y'all had the watermelon situation. It looked like y'all had work, not the watermelon situation. The Taco Tuesday, y'all.
That would be the watermelon situation. That was tied in. Hold on one second.
Y'all in these comments, I'm so done with y'all. Okay, keep going. Oh, let me get y'all another. We have a little bit of a respite real fast. So let's look at this one. She's talking about how two people she knew were in therapy, and one of them, the therapist her friend had, and I think her friend fired her therapist. She did not hold her friend accountable. The therapist that her, I'll just let you watch it so y'all can see, because I don't want to explain it incorrectly. But it's just, this one is not a professional therapist. This is just this is anecdotal on this one. Someone just telling their story.
So I was having a conversation with a friend recently, and she was talking to me about her experience in therapy. And there's a couple of red flags that I noticed I'm going to point out on the screen as I'm telling you the story. So the first thing she said is that all of her therapy sessions feel like venting sessions. Like she's just venting about her feelings, and her therapist either only like relates by telling experiences about herself, or she just doesn't ask any questions to help my friend process like what she's venting about or offer any suggestions. The second thing is my friend's partner is also, he has like a life coach. I'm not sure if it's a therapist, but he does some work on himself as well. And she's noticed that her partner's coach really holds him accountable, and her therapist does not do that. The third thing, which I kind of already mentioned, is her therapist talks a lot about herself and gives examples about herself. And those are all of the things that I can think of at the moment. But what I asked my friend was, what did you tell your therapist that you want from her? Have you tried communicating that you would like to do more processing instead of just venting? Do you just go into therapy and start venting right away? Do you give your therapist time to respond, or are you talking the whole session? So I also offered another perspective so that she could consider that as well before she just writes her therapist off and fires her without communicating or self-reflecting.
So that was just a friend that experienced her friends in therapy. I have another one for y'all before we go to the next part. I have some. Okay, I don't have so many, but I just have some. Like, I don't even know what order I want to play these in. Okay, we're gonna do 3 red flags, and one of them is therapist talks to the client like they're friends. And yes, I understand right now she's acting in the life coach capacity, but I'm still playing it.
Red flags and therapists. Number 1.
Oh, wait, that's not it. Here we go.
Everybody, my name's Alex. I'm a licensed therapist. Now, a lot of therapists are really, really good. However, some are really, really bad. Now, today we're going to look at 3 red flags that you might see in a bad therapist. Red flag number 1, when the therapist talks to the client like they are their friend. Now, of course, the therapist is always going to be kind. They're always going to be friendly. They're always going to be supportive. However, it's from a therapeutic way. We do it to help our client work towards their goals, work towards what they want to accomplish, work to overcome their barriers. But some therapists, they're not really working to help their clients kind of overcome their goals or their challenges or anything like that. The therapy session just kind of turns to a one-on-one conversation that kind of lasts for days, months, and years. And even after the client doesn't need therapy anymore, they still see the therapist, even though they don't have to, but just because they have that conversation built up. This isn't where we want to be. And if a therapist does this, they might not be the best at their job. Red flag number 2, judginess. Now, we can all tell when we're being judged, right? Whether it's the facial expressions people have or whether the words people use. People don't like being judged, right? And we especially don't like being judged when we're opening up our heart out to a counselor. If we get that feeling, if we get that vibe, probably not the best therapist for us. Red flag number 3, a therapist talks way too much about themselves. You know, as a client, we want to talk about ourselves because that's what we're there for, right? We want to talk about ourselves, we want to share our feelings, we want to get everything out. But sometimes the therapists, they like sharing a little bit too much about themselves. We talk about something that's bothering us. They talk a little about something that's bothering them. We talk about it. They talk about it. And sometimes this oversharing might actually be counseling based, but the problem is sometimes they share so much that the client can barely get a word in. If your therapist does this, it might not be the best one. These are 3 signs of a bad counselor. Now, if you like videos like this.
Okay. So my theory is, especially now y'all are getting the tone of how familiar they kind of are with each other. My theory is that life coach, whatever role she's acting in Destiny's life, she's most likely not getting paid on a regular actual basis she would from a different client. I feel like the friendship's the payment. Showing her YouTube self is the payment on Destiny's channel. Also, with her being there with production, there may be some possible arrangements later that she appears on some spot of a show, maybe not LAMH, but something as a therapist like Dr. Francis and such. I feel like there's an arrangement going on, but I don't think there's actual US dollars passing back and forth for the life coaching and stuff. That's my theory. That is my theory. Okay. And if nothing else, just falling back on that personal relationship. Okay, so now we're going to the next clip. Dion thinks, this is a short one, but she thinks it's not. She tells Destiny, I don't think things went wrong with you, like being friends or whatever with Martell. She's saying she thinks it went wrong with what happened on the stage at the reunion between Melody and Destiny. She thinks that was the wrong that everything went on. So I'll let y'all hear that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Destiny gets up. So right now she's talking to the chat because Destiny ain't here. I don't remember if she come back soon or not for this part, but she leaves a couple times.
It was a weird place to break, so I'm just gonna look at some of the messages over here. Let's see. Accountability, action, acclimate. Okay. Let's see. Now I feel like I'm reading random messages. Messages. We'll be right back. Let's see. Let me find something to, because I want her to be here when I say these other things. But I thought she did good in the conversation. Initially, like I said, it was assertive. My guess is that if I had to guess where this relationship really went wrong, I don't even know that it was the whole Martell thing. I really think it was that conversation on the stage. That's where I think it went left. I think that there wasn't enough room to say, hey, I don't know where we stand in our relationship. So I'll come back to that. We'll probably go back and break down that episode, that last reunion that they did. That's where I really, really saw things go left, but that's a conversation for another day. We'll break that down another day.
So she's hung up there, I think, because Destiny's also hung up there because that's where Destiny's person, Carlos, said, I see you sitting there with a pillow. That was at that time? It might have been that time. I don't know if that was the same reunion now that I think. I don't remember. But what I'm saying is, it's interesting. That's where she's hung up right there. We're not going to talk about all the things that happened before that, but because you're not keeping up with things and Destiny only tells partial stories, you won't know if that's how you're going to do it. So I did see someone say, do we know? Oh, here we go. Do we know the roles of the life coach? So Maria, Shan did put some of the stuff a life coach does in the chat, but I also will say this again, how 41 Fifth said, and somebody else said, you can't turn your license off and on. And it was something else that the professional said in the chat. I can't remember, but I think they're saying she's already passed the line. At minimum, she's towing a weird line. She's towing a weird line. Okay, because again, she said she can't unknow what she knows, so she's still she's speaking still as a therapist. She says she can't undo that, but I understand that I'm definitely going to get pushed back on that depending on who rewatches this video. I'm not saying you're giving me pushback. You could or couldn't. I don't know. But I'm just saying I had to calculate the risk of talking about this because she did, she gave her disclaimer, said she's here as a life coach and all that stuff too. So we'll see. All right. So now I have Dion wants to encourage people to look at behaviors. I would like to encourage Dion to do the same. She said she and Destiny spent time praying for the people they talked about. All right. So that one will be a short one, but here you go.
She's doing that. Here's what I want to encourage our tribe with. I don't want this to be a place where we just come and we talk about somebody. We're talking about the show, but I want this to be a place where we turn and we look at ourselves. So as we're looking at these people and we're dissecting things, we're looking at behavior and we're looking at the behavior that might trigger some of you. Here's what I want you to do. Here's what I encourage Destiny to do and what I do. I pray for those people regularly. Anybody that I'm talking about right now, I have prayed for. Actually, Destiny and I spent quite a bit of time yesterday praying for those people. I want you to pray for them so that you can make sure you protect the empathy that you need to have. So you guys know my form.
Yeah, please do not pray for me. Please do not pray for me. I have very select people I'm okay with praying for. Don't pray for me.
Is to pair truth with love. So if you're going to say anything about anybody, before you open your mouth to say something about somebody, you make sure you spend some time praying for them. And not praying like one of these get them prayers. Like, no, a prayer like, remind yourself how gracious God was to you. Remind yourself that God had to be merciful to you. That's what keeps me humble. That's what keeps me, like, when I want to pray those call fire from heaven, like the sons of Zebedee, right? They wanted to call fire from heaven, and God was like, you don't even know what spirit you're of. Jesus was like, you don't even know what spirit you're of, because that's not our job. Our job is not to judge them. It's not to call fire down on them. It is to absolutely stand in the gap. My pastor said something, and it resonated with me, and I hope.
Okay. I'm gonna keep playing. We're not done. Dion says this is an interesting thing to say with Destiny as your client, as either a life coach client or whatever. She says you're still responsible for your response. That's what Dion says. She said, I want us growing. I don't want us stagnant. Interesting. She said, we don't want to do anything for the sake of revenge. Interesting, because Dion, your client, friend, sister, mother to your play nephew, literally is ace boon coons with someone that literally does things for revenge, as well as she has done things for revenge. So very interesting that that's your stance. So I'll let y'all hear it though. Here you go.
I never forget this. I hope I can hide this in my heart forever, ever. He said, you don't have enemies, you have missions. When you ground yourself in a higher purpose, it's going to be real hard for you to have an enemy, because you have to see them how God sees them. Now, do you have to agree with all their behavior? No. Do you have to accept all their behavior? No. You can set boundaries.
Okay, let me clear this up, because I'm seeing this in the chat. Now, Just Mia, I don't know if Dion has ever gotten on Queen Sheba's panel, so I am not sure about that. Queen Sheba has somebody that is not Dion that has come to speak about relationships with motherless daughters and things like that. So they are not the same, but I don't know if Dion braved going on Queen Sheba panel or not. So, but if you're just thinking about one time a woman, licensed practitioner person, licensed therapist came up on Queen Sheba's panel, it was not Dion. Now, if there's another one I'm not aware of, then that's fine, but I don't know. I didn't know she ever came up on Queen Sheba's panel.
And for some relationships, they will need to be cut off. But pray, because that's the part that protects your heart. You are still responsible for your response. Regardless of what somebody's doing, you're responsible for your response. You're responsible for the condition of your heart. You're responsible for that. And forgiveness is not for them. It's for you. It's for you. Because if God starts measuring out forgiveness the same way you measured out, what would be happening? What would be happening in your life if God were to measure it out the same way? So I just want to encourage you with that piece, so that you all can.
Destiny's still not in her seat, y'all. She's not in her seat as all this is going on.
And when we come over here, I want us growing. I don't want us stagnant. And this is topic. I want you to also be real friends to people. The thing that made me sad about the episode is when I looked and I was like, I would challenge Destiny all the time, like, hey, don't let your heart camp out there. I know you're upset. You have a valid reason to be upset, but you can't let your heart camp out there. You can't, because if you do, it'll turn into bitterness. And the next step for bitterness is revenge. And we don't want to do anything for the sake of revenge. Now, does that mean that you don't have to have conversations? Because you can't fix something that you won't name, that you won't talk about. You can't fix those things. So I think conversations are necessary. Even if the conversation is to set out a boundary, is to set out a new boundary, and allow God to give you wisdom and allow him to give you guidance on how to interact with people after things like trust has been broken. How to make sure you keep yourself safe, but at the same time, don't walk in a sense of bitterness and feel justified in that.
Just a chair, no destiny.
So yes, that's for my tribe. I know people do what they do. That's none of my business. That's none of my business. But over here, we're gonna challenge people to grow, challenge people to acts of goodness and to have hearts that are open to God. I'm gonna challenge you on that over here in this chapter. This is my little space that's been carved out for me. So that's what I'm gonna do.
So this is her space that's been carved out for her, and that's her challenge. Okay. Next we're doing Dion speaks about therapy advice she has given Destiny. That's how I summarized it. That's how I took it. So I'm gonna let y'all. Oh wait, no, hold on. Let's go to another sign. Here's one. This one is a client. Now she says she's not gonna ever do therapy again. I don't think she'll never do it again, but she is like, this is not right what happened though. I will say that. So this is someone that her therapist was enabling her to live to do some bad behavior.
I'll tell you something else. These therapists don't be healed either. That's why I'm gonna stop going to therapy, because they don't be healed either. They be just as fucked up as we are. My last therapist, I had to fire her because she was encouraging me to do stuff. I'm coming to you to fix this. Why are you encouraging me? So I have poverty trauma, right? I grew up poor. And the way that my trauma manifests is that I have a problem with flexing when I get triggered. Let me give you an example. So we bought this house in 2021. Okay, my son had just recently started daycare. We bought the house, we were furnishing the house, buying stuff, running up the card, okay? Running up the card. So on one particular day, I was buying furniture, I was just buying a bunch of things for the house, okay? And running up the card all day. I get a call from my son's daycare, and it's the daycare director, and she's like, I just ran your card, and your card was declined. I'm like, that's weird, because there's definitely money on the card. And she tried to like play me like I was broke. So I hung up the phone, I called the bank, and the bank was like, oh yeah, you just hit your spending limit for the day. Like, because you can only spend a certain amount of money per day. I think mine was at like $2,500 or something like that. I had to have them raise it, right? So that I could spend on the card. But because she had an attitude, I felt some type of way. I called her back. I was like, hey, go ahead and run that card again. Go ahead and run it for the next 6 months. Matter of fact, run for the next 6 months. Because I got triggered. Don't talk to me like I ain't got no money in my account, because I have money in my account. I don't like that. Poverty trauma. I tell my therapist this. She says, yeah, girl, I would have done the same thing. What? I'm coming to you to fix this. I got to stop doing this. What do you mean you do the same thing?
I thought that was funny. What do you mean you do the same thing? You're supposed to help fix this. I was like, oh my gosh, this is it right here. This is it. I'm telling you, like, I feel like you are encouraging her. Like, you know how your girlfriend ready to rah-rah for you? Like, I feel like that's what this is. The therapist don't need to be on your side. They need to be telling you how to act in a healthy way. Right? He said, girl, what? I was like, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. All right. So now here's some more therapy advice for this that she says she gives Destiny. So we'll go to that. But that one tickled me. Let me see.
Yeah. So I don't think you have to hide the fact that you love deeply. I don't think you have to hide the fact.
Yes, I do.
You don't.
Yes, I do. They just try to take advantage of them. They be thinking thugs don't have no heart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you know
thugs'
what?
hearts are the biggest.
And they are.
Oh, she finally came back. I can't remember if she's gonna ask at the very end of this video or she already asked. But that whole time she was gone, she gonna ask Dion to run back everything Dion said. Girl, you was gone forever. What?
Don't nobody keep street code like a woman. Don't know. I mean, like it is. I hope that quality doesn't change about your heart. I just hope, again, I think you have good systems in place. I think you have good insulation in place. I think you do. And now anybody that comes in now have to go through those systems. It's people around you who do not play about you right now.
I don't play about me right now. And I don't play about me right now.
Yeah,
I was like, just give her one more chance. Nope.
Now we do. Listen, now we do have to work on that a little bit. And I'm not saying in this relationship. I think it needs. Even if you were to give it another chance, it would need a different kind of boundary. But here's what I will say: I don't want you to change your heart. I don't want you to change the quality of your heart.
I had to pause, but I ain't got nothing to say. Let me keep going. I just paused it.
I mean, it sounds good to say, like, I could cut somebody off, I could do this, but it's a miserable life to live. Even if it sounds good to say, it's a miserable life to live.
But you know, when I get there, it's strong.
I know. And that's why we keep working, because that's not where your heart is intended to camp out at.
No, I don't camp there. But if you get over there onto that party, I call it, you know, on the internet, it's my block party. I got to give it another name for those people that end up on that side. But the cutoff party, I don't know. If you end up over on that side, I honestly and truthfully, you deserve to be there. You deserve to be there, because I do give a lot of grace.
She gives a lot of grace. I don't know if we're gonna hold on. Let me see my timestamps. Okay, we got some more, but I'm gonna say it before I forget. This is my thing, because Dion wanted to also discuss about how Destiny got cut off and didn't get a chance to say her piece or know she had to choose. I need you to know, for me, say I had a child and 41 Fit was good friends with Mr. Trendon and me both. If Mr. Trendon is trying to take my child and force me to pay child support, but it was all him that did this, and trying to paint me out as a mom that just has 20-something babysitters, and 41 Fit don't know, I need you to pick a side real fast. I don't even think I should have to say that, because I need to know because then I know your intentions. If I'm fighting for my children against Mr. Trendon and you don't know to choose me, we don't have nothing to talk about. That's just one of the things. That's also suspected, and they joke about it. The sexual jokes is another thing. At some point, I gotta let you go. I don't have to even talk to you about it. I don't owe you a talk. I'm sorry, I don't owe you a talk. I don't owe you one. So they talked about that too. I don't know if it stayed in here. I don't remember if I kept that part, but I'm just saying, like, no, there's so much that just because we as the audience don't know everything that Destiny did do, I don't care if you if she didn't have a problem in that moment with you being on the phone with Martell or clicking over to talk to Martell. I don't care about that. I feel like as friends, there's a pattern you showed, and it said, oh, okay, let me back up, because I see how Destiny's moving, and my ex is causing me hell, and I need peace. Okay, and it's got my kids involved, my mental health involved, my mental peace involved, my boundaries, all these things. If you can't somewhere see that and know I need to kind of be there for one or the other real strong, then yeah, I'm sorry. Everybody's not going to confrontationally tell you, because then you're going to try to argue it back, like, oh, I didn't know, or oh, no, some things I need you to know. I don't want to have this. I don't even want to try to compromise. We're done. We got to be done with this one. We're done. There's certain lines we just got to be done.
I do think, I think you're giving grace. I think you have to balance it out with accountability. Part of your issue has honestly been your silence. I don't think you can work through the issue without defining it and without addressing it. I appreciate your honesty. You're like, I'm not going to say peace where there is no peace. If we're going to get there, we're going to have to work it out and genuinely work it out. So that all that makes sense to me too. All of that makes sense to me too. But again, we just keep working. We just keep working.
You were saying something about the conversation when the boss distracted me, Law. You were saying the conversation went left, and I said, "You don't F me, I don't F with you." Am I going too far back?
That's when it went left.
It went left. I think it was just a matter of fact. Like, let's not do semantics. Let's get to what's in front of us and what was said, and let's not dance around that, so we can actually get through something finally.
No, I agree. I mean, I know what your intentions are. I'm just saying, I think that's the point at which the you say F me, and those are strong words to say to somebody or to say about somebody. And then when they show up, it switches up, it's just, it was a lot to take in. It was a lot to take in. I think you did, like I said, the part that I think you did well with is the stuff that you didn't say. I was proud of that. Because at the end of the day,
I'll say that word, Law. Yes.
I don't know what word law said, but she said, don't say that word law. And then she said, I'm proud of you for the stuff you didn't say. Girl, if she had it to say and it could help her case, she was going to say it. She didn't have anything else to say at that time, in my opinion. Also, Miss Z, you make a great point. She said, trending weight. Let's say she cut Dust Bucket off for no reason. And true, we can let people go. It's okay. That is very true. I agree with you on that, Miss Z. Yes, I do agree. Is that you? Oh gosh, I can't. Let's look at these next signs real fast. These are short. They're short.
Signs of a bad therapist. Number one, they don't seem like they know what they're doing. The key here is that you have to believe they know what they're doing, because if you don't, you're probably not going to be comfortable to open up to them about the things that you really, really need help with. The second sign of a bad therapist is that they talk about themselves too much and they don't focus on you or your needs. The third sign is that if you leave every session feeling really great and validated and wonderful, they may not be pushing you hard enough. They may not be able to help you see outside of your perspective so you can improve. Number four, if every time you leave therapy you're super overwhelmed and dysregulated, it could be a sign that they're pushing you too hard too soon. Number five, if they don't have experience with your specific issue or condition, they may not be able to help you. So for an example, I've never worked with psychosis. I've never worked with people who are dealing with hallucinations in therapy. If you come to me and you're experiencing hallucinations, I'm going to refer you to a colleague. If I were to try to help you, I would definitely be a bad therapist. Remember, therapy is a collaborative process, and you need to find someone who's a good fit for you and your needs.
Okay, there's another part in here. Sorry, there's another part in here where the therapist also, it's like she's praising Tisha, Kimmy, Destiny because they lift each other up. That was a crab in a barrel conversation. That's when she said that. I'm like, Melody tangibly tried to lift these women up to things, and they didn't. You know what I put in my notes? I said, while Melody was trying to lift them up, what are you supposed to do as you lifting somebody up? They slicing the knife up your back. Like, you gotta let them go. You have to let them go. Like, people could not just be happy winning in their lane. It's like, you, not only do I have to win, but I gotta stomp you in your face as I'm climbing up where, you're trying to help me go. And you can do it on your own too. I'm just saying, though, there was a lot of actions that we're just going to ignore, apparently, in this, whatever we're calling this that's going on right now.
You want strawberries, blueberries, and grapes. Okay.
Yeah, so we've gone quite a bit of time. But what I would say is, again, I think the need is legitimate. Her need was legitimate. It's just I wish you had been gone about a different way. That's what I wish. I wish it had been communicated, and I wish you all had gotten a chance to work through those things. And now it's looking like so much has happened. I don't know how you all. I don't know how you build a bridge. If there is a bridge to be built, I don't even know how invested either one of you are in that. But my hope is that other people who are watching this situation, like, just learn from it. Just learn from their situation to communicate. If you don't communicate, then that's not a boundary. A boundary is something you've communicated to the person. So I hope you glean from this. If you have a relationship where you see some of these patterns, I really hope you glean from this situation. There's so much more I want to say about it, but I don't want to. We got to get off of here. I got to eat. I'm sorry. I'm hungry.
Chicken.
Yep, and you know it. That's exactly what I'm having. We have so many topics that we can come back to. It's not even funny. So I'm going to be traveling next week. So I know we won't be doing Mondays next week, but we should be back at it the week after. And I think we can continue this conversation. We can probably, because like I said, there was a lot of issues that came up in the show overall. Like, what is respectful cheating? Polyamory, that's another thing. Friendship, those are topics that we can cover.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta eat.
But maybe since I have like 10 minutes. How much your time you think I missed? Maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I can give it to y'all.
What's that? You gonna keep going?
I may keep it as long as law allows me to. But
okay.
He's demanded blueberries, strawberries, and grapes.
Yeah. And we can also talk about the next time we come together, like what friendship looks like, what accountability.
She said chicken. That's all Dion cooks on Monday. She has to cook.
Yeah, because
so again, just the familiarity that, and it's not, okay, I'm just pointing this out as a familiarity point, but you know, Destiny's familiar with Dion's Mondays and what she makes for her family, why she makes it for her family, just to reinforce the whole familiar that they have with each other beyond life coach client, therapist client, all that.
Oh wait, okay. I'll be honest with you. In this episode, what I saw was sad. There were, like I said, there was parts of me. I went back and forth. Like I'm like, some of this is funny, but when I really took a step back and I looked at it, I was like, this is sad. At what point, if you beefing with the whole block, at what point do your friends turn to you and go, "Hey man, come here. Like, what's going on? What's going on with your role in this? You beefing with everybody? What's your role in it? You know what I mean?" So we gotta get going. I'm so tired. Let me pray. Lord.
Okay, then they go into praying. Okay, last clip for y'all.
Consistently late. Being consistently more than 5 minutes late to each of your sessions is disrespectful to your time, as every minute in therapy is crucial. Number 2, breaching confidentiality. Sharing information about you without your consent is a huge violation of trust, and it's obviously extremely unethical. Number 3, false credentials. Therapists claiming false titles like calling themselves a doctor when they're not is a huge ethical concern. Number 4, forgetfulness about important details. If your therapist repeatedly forgets important details of your life, this indicates a lack of listening, and listening is one of the most important skills that a therapist needs to have. Number 5, excessive self-disclosure. When therapists disclose too much about themselves and it's not for the purposes of your growth or to connect with you, this is a big red flag because therapy is supposed to be about you. Number 6, judgmental behavior. Constant judgment and criticism in a safe space like therapy is a big red flag. Number 7, defensiveness to feedback. Therapists should be open to your feedback in order to be able to tailor their approach to you. If they become defensive, it signals a red flag.
All right, and this one, just to leave us out on, it says, can we be, or it's like when you end therapy and they ask, can we be friends now?
No ma'am. No ma'am. No ma'am.
Most of the therapists I saw in comment sections were like, don't be friends. Don't be friends. That's what I saw a lot of. Hopefully, you know, this was more opinionated and thought-based, obviously. Tried to bring a little bit of insight from actual professionals. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this though, other than it irking you. And hopefully it counteracted some of the silliness that tends to stay out there. I will not regularly review these, but I had thoughts on, I've been just keep hearing about this doggone whatever this is supposed to be, and I had my thoughts. I got my thoughts out, so I don't know, unless something crazy happens. I ain't gonna be over here every time talking about them. You ain't gonna have to worry about it, but this bothers me. Like I said, something on the inside just bothers me. Thank you, 41 Fit, and y'all come back Friday 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, please, because I have a treat for y'all. I really hope I see y'all. Also, here for High Tea and I have our show tomorrow, Lux Tea at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I got to pop the trunk for Bobby for the super sticker and bring it in for our new member, Golden Mike. All right, here we go.
All right, we going. What a money reside, what a money reside, what a money reside, what a money reside.
Oh, bring it in. Starting from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. I will see you later. Oh, Deborah, go come in here and make me pop that truck one more time. All right, Deborah. Thank you.
All right, we going. What a money reside, what a money reside, what a money reside, what a money reside.
Okay, y'all. See y'all later. Bye.
I've been taking my time, taking all your time, taking all your